Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
To all of our business owners and or leaders out there, those of you who have the capacity to bring someone new into your organization, would you hire the version of you from last year? What an interesting question. When we are in a position where we can bring new people on board, sometimes we have a list of skills, qualities, education, expectations that we are looking for in order to bring them into our culture. But many times we don't actually look at ourselves and say, well, wait a minute, if they were hiring today, would they still hire me? Would I hire me? Let's discuss this a little bit further here on A Woman's Prerogative. Let's welcome the star of our show. Her name is Mariska, and she's joining us all the way from Australia. Welcome to the program. Hello.
Hello, and it is wonderful to be with all of you.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but in many places in the world, it is extremely hot. And I know that you're in winter there. And here today, it was 103 degrees Fahrenheit, and our good friends in the UK without air conditioning are really sweating it out. So before we get into the topic, what is it like there in Australia where you are?
A lot more chilly. So as the Northern Hemisphere, where you are at, are experiencing extreme heats, we are in winter. So for me, not so warm. Although I did notice my app saying it is warmer than normal. So even though it's winter, we have a few degrees that's a bit above the normal temperatures. But I don't have the problems that you have with overheating.
Well, let's get into our hot topic today. Mariska, you do extensive amounts of coaching with leaders. You have an engineering background. So when you think about this topic, about whether or not you would hire yourself, the version of you from last year, what say you, good friend?
Well, I would. And the reason I say I would is because I actually noticed for myself the amount of growth I've been doing since last year. And I know that it's not something that we necessarily always have as a KPI or something that's very tangible that you can say, well, I am right here, right now, and have it marked on a little map of some sort, and then go a year from now and then see how much we have grown and changed. Sometimes some of it might be intentional. So we might think, well, I want to grow this specific skill or change this behavior potentially, and we have some intentionality about it. Now, being in a growth profession, yes, there is intentionality about it, and I did study a whole bunch of things and continued learning. But the thing that I found really interesting, and something that me and my husband actually spoke about, was the philosophy that we live according to, the belief system that you employ. And I actually noticed that changed for me since last year. And I know it's always evolving. We have a tendency to think that it's fixed, but it's not. It changes over time. But I don't think we really notice it because we are so ingrained in it all the time. It's a little bit like noticing when your puppy or kitten or child grows up, you don't notice it day by day. You notice it over time. And I think that's sort of what happened when I think about it. So yes, that's where I'm at the moment with this specific topic, Dr. Jacalyn. How about you?
I would hire you. How do you feel about that? Come on aboard. I would definitely hire you. I've known you since 2019, and I've watched the evolution, and you were already pretty well set up and successful when I met you. So I've just seen continuous growth, which is really important, because some people feel not even at the end of a decade that they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. And so when you're able to continuously evolve and grow, that's an exciting place to be.
Very exciting place to be. And I know that you are also continuously evolving and growing, and even helping some of the people on this platform to do that. So would you hire you now, seeing as you are a year further down the track?
I would definitely hire me. I would hire 10 of me, because I feel I'm very structured and very disciplined, as you know, and some people find that very boring. But for someone who is structured and disciplined, I get a lot done. I'm like a machine. And so I don't have a lot of emotions that fear I'm not going to get it done. I'm not going to be successful at whatever it is that I'm doing, because I don't spend the time dwelling on it. I get it done.
Yes. So we just need to clone 10 more of you, and then you will be sorted out.
And 10 of you, 20 of us, and we're ready to take over.
Well, I'm not so sure whether I want another one of me. We might have too much fun.
Imagine that. I mean, that's a great point too. So when you think about hiring someone, how much of their personality do you want to be fun, energetic, spontaneous versus structure, discipline?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think for me, so one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is I'm on a board for a volunteer group, and we are moving into our next phase where I'll be leading our team. And what I am doing in that space is looking at what, not only the skill sets that the person is bringing to the table, because those are important, but also what's the energy that we need in the team, and for what it is that we are trying to accomplish. So sometimes we might have too much of one type of energy, and then that might not be helpful. It might actually stifle the whole process, or it might throw it off kilter a little bit. So that's something that I've been looking at and thinking about a lot more lately. And it's very interesting as I go through this process of thinking about it, seeing where it applies and where it doesn't. And that thought, I'm wondering, Dr. Jacalyn, how do you go about hiring? And what is it that you think about?
Well, it's interesting because I have a different business model here than some other business models, which I won't get into. But I look for the energy level. Is someone excited? Do they want to be a TV show host? And if so, what is the motivation? Is their motivation that it's strictly about money? Is it about creating a legacy and giving back? Is there some combination? How cohesive are they in terms of being part of a team, or just being all about themselves? And are they open to feedback? Because if they're not open to feedback, it's not going to go so well. Because my job is to continuously push the network and the platform to another level. So I'm continuing to evolve by taking educational courses and learning where the industry's going. I mean, if you think about television, before people were even born, probably some of the people watching. We had these, I mentioned before, these little rabbit ears and a black and white TV with a knob that you would turn, and things have completely evolved. So they're going to continue evolving. It's almost like the cell phone industry, started off with these big car phones, and then the phones got really small. Then the phones are getting bigger, and it's every year they're coming out with new models. So we have to stay on top of our game. And if you have people who are not interested in working on their skill set, and then it's not a good fit. And I understand that people are resistant to change in general. But I mentioned this to you, and this is a selfish plug, so I'll call it what it is. But I have a new book coming out called Stop, Why Knowing Isn't Enough. So we know things that we could be doing that would benefit us or benefit our team or organization. And we know that when we accomplish certain things, we will be recognized or rewarded. But we still don't do them anyway. So that, to me, is not going to be a good fit. And sometimes people will hide behind their education or their experience, but it always shows up at some point, whether or not someone is interested in investing in themselves personally and professionally. What are your thoughts about my proclamation?
I absolutely agree with your proclamation, because even if we have a doctorate or whatever, name the education that you have behind you, right? If we don't continue to evolve and grow, we're actually going backwards, because everything else around us is evolving and growing. So if we stand still because we want to take a bit of a break, it's great. Just realize that the break that you are taking are actually moving you backwards and not necessarily forwards. And I'm not saying that it needs to be formal education all the time. I mean, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that that might have come from YouTube channels, watching a how-to video or reading books, or a variety of other ways that we can skill ourselves up and look at the way we think and approach the world that changes us as humans. So yes, I'm with you on that. People that want to not learn, I don't know. Do they live a boring life?
I think that we can look at it, they may be coming from a place of fear, because we can get good and proficient at something that we do. And then when someone asks us to do something else where we have to extend ourselves, or potentially, oh, you've gone dark, I don't know what happened to you. Are you still there?
I can hear you, but I'm seeing that I've gone dark. So
I'll just take you off the screen for the moment. But many times when we feel really comfortable in our role and whatever it is that we're doing, we don't actually want to take on more responsibilities, because what if we're not proficient at these new skills? Then what? Then we start to question everything. It's almost like when you make a career change, which I have done. I was in corporate for a very long time and left in 2020 to go out on my own. And here I am today. But if I never took the opportunity to say, I'm going to do something different, I wouldn't be here today. And Mariska wouldn't be here today. Mariska is backstage trying to get her green screen fixed. But if you don't walk through the door, you never know where it's going to take you. And so when we think about, would we hire this version of ourselves if we were in that position? If someone walked through the door and had similar experience, training, knowledge, appearance, etc., would you hire them? Because it takes courage to look in the mirror and say, I love what I see. I'm not happy with what I see. I'd like to work on X, Y, and Z, as opposed to, I don't feel like doing any work. It's too hard. I remember one of my clients in corporate would say, we do everything in this company the way that I say that we do it. And it was interesting because this person was not in a high level position at this organization. And it was kind of, well, have you looked at the perspective from your executives, the people who are actually own the budget and sign the contract? And the person said, no, I'm just going to do it the way that I do. And if they don't like me, then they'll get rid of me. So you can have that kind of mentality. Or you can also be someone who likes to think out of the box, and whatever the rules are, you're constantly looking to bend them or extend them, whatever the case may be. So we have a certain comfort zone with who we are personally and professionally. And when it comes to exploring how we could extend our knowledge, try something new, there is that element of fear. For any of you out there who work out, you might do the same routine. I see it all the time at the gym. People come in and they lift weights and they do the exact same routine day in and day out. And then they wonder why their body's not changing, why they're not losing weight or getting stronger, whatever it is that their goals are. And it's because they haven't actually pushed their body. Their body's used to doing whatever it is that they've been doing. So I really believe that it is good to test the limits, take some risks, put yourself out there and see where you're going to go, how you're going to grow. Because otherwise, as Mariska mentioned, you most likely will be going backwards. And when you go backwards and everyone's going forwards, there's going to be an even larger gap. For those of you who are in a position of hiring, whether you have your own business or you are in corporate, what are some of the attributes that you look for when you're hiring people? I remember when I was in corporate, the hiring managers, there were various hiring managers through the years, loved people who were veterans, people who had served in the military, for the structure and the discipline. They knew they were going to be very dependable and that they could also be open to leadership coaching. So welcome back. Veterans demonstrate certain behaviors of loyalty, discipline, structure. And so those attributes, at least when I was in corporate, were things that people were really, hiring managers were really looking for. Now, on the other end, there are positions in organizations that really require creativity, out of the box thinking. And so they're really on opposite ends, but you can have someone who's structured and disciplined, who's also creative, and the opposite. Mariska, how would you describe yourself? Would you say you're more of a creative, or you're more structured and disciplined, or somewhere in between?
I think more in between somewhere. So I can be very structured, and I mean, I did study engineering after all and worked in the industry for quite some time. And in saying that, it doesn't mean that all engineers are necessarily just structured, right? We need to be able to be creative, to come up with fresh, innovative ideas on things. So I think I'm a little bit of a blend of both. And depending on where I find myself, I might tap into one skill set a little bit more or the other skill set a little bit more, or potentially blend them and see what I come up with. So I'll be creative with being structured.
All right, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. I never thought I was creative in any capacity throughout my entire life. And it wasn't until I retired in 2020. Then I was taking care of my mother who had dementia, and I had to come up with ways to earn money, which were writing books, an entire children's book series. And I have no children. And you know, because you wrote some of the books with me, and then also the television network. And so all of these keynote speaking, all of them were out of the box from what it was I used to do. I used to sell meetings at events and employee recognition programs. And I've never felt more alive in my entire life. It's kind of interesting because I am very structured and disciplined, but at the same time, I am creative. And before, there's no way I would have thought I was creative at all. It's fun to be able to do both.
It is. And I think that one thing that we always forget, right, is that everybody is creative. It is different for everyone. Think about yourself when you were 5 years old. I'm sure you came up with a whole bunch of different ideas, ways to play, places to go and play, different games that you played. It wasn't always the same old boring things. You are creative. So when we think we are not creative, I think it is we have forgotten a little bit of that inner child that is definitely in there somewhere going, oh no, please, I want to play. And whatever play it is that you are playing, you can be creative in that. And creativity, I know that for some people, they have a tendency to define creativity in a way where they feel that they're not creative. So I can't paint, or I can't make music, or I can't do this specific thing, or it needs to look a specific way. So it needs to be unique. It needs to be a one of a kind. Well, even if you are going to take an adult coloring book, because that's something that my mother-in-law does from time to time, even if you take that, right, the way that you're going to color it from the way that anybody else is going to do it will differ. Guaranteed. You're not going to use the same colors. You might not even use the same medium to color it in with. And that's creativity. That's your own internal creativity coming out on a piece of paper. So I think everybody is creative, just like I think everybody can be structured. We sometimes don't give ourselves the grace to try it out. And well, if we learn, or if it's something that's of interest to us, we can always change it. So there's nothing to stop us from changing things, which is always exciting too.
That's right. We always have a choice. And Mariska, we are actually going to go to a quick commercial break. One of our team members, Red O'Loughlin, has launched his new book. The book is called Aging Sucks. That's right, the big Suckamundo. And we are going to watch a sponsorship. You can order your copy of the book on Amazon right now. Take a look.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
Welcome back to A Woman's Prerogative. Mariska, did you see the woman in the clip, the woman with the white hair? My mother used to do that all the time with her hair. I think that woman looks just like my mother. It's freaking me out, actually.
Well, hopefully only good memories.
Yeah, very good memories. When I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh. So for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about a lot of things today. But basically, would you hire yourself if you were going for an interview? Mariska, there are times when people will apply for a job potentially not expecting to even be called in, but they need income. They need money. So they go to the interview, and I don't know what it's like to interview anymore, but I know when I was in corporate, there might be 8 interviews. And then there was a breakfast, there was a lunch, there was a dinner, there was a personality test. So there was a lot of work involved. I don't know what it's like today in corporate, but what advice would you have for someone who is looking for a job and applying for positions they have no interest in because they basically just need money?
That's always a difficult one, because our basic needs is one of the things that's first and foremost, right? We want to be able to survive somehow. So that would be the first thing that comes up is, okay, so this might not be your forever job, because it is one that will just hold the system sort of intact for you right now. So understanding what might be involved in that position, and understanding why we are applying for it. Now, once we are in that job, does it mean that you have to stay there forever? No, it does not. And if you are in a job where you don't feel satisfied, where you sort of go, why am I doing this day in and day out? And it feels like a grind. It's not in alignment with you. You might be in an organization that's not in alignment with you. Then going and having a look at, well, what is the values that is important to me? And how does this organization that I'm working with, do we align with those values? Don't we align with those values? What's happening? And then also understanding what's the energetic state that we are in when we are doing the applications. I remember going through coaching training once where the person said, needy is creepy. So if we go into a job application and we have this needy energy, have to get the job. I understand that there is some of that might be happening inside, but if that's the main energy that we bring into the whole process, the likelihood of us actually repelling is increased. And that's also very likely that when you do get a job from that energetic space, it's not going to be fun at all. And you might be better off not taking it. So that's the things that I would think of when I'm thinking of stepping into that space of being hired. It's always a lot easier to go into the process when we are already in a more secure place because of our general way of being in that place. It's a lot easier to then get to a more grateful energy space and being in a place where we can go, yep, I would like to step up or change and grow within my space versus the needy, creepy one. What's your thoughts on that, Dr. Jacalyn?
I agree with you. I think when you're going through the hiring process, you have to show that you're passionate, committed, and they're going to look and say, whether they say it out loud or they think it, why should I hire you? I've got all these applicants. What about you? And sometimes it comes down to just pure passion, drive. I am the one. You need look no further because I have everything that you're looking for. And it's difficult to come across like that unless you're a professional actor or maybe training to be, because people can tell that your words and your body language are not in alignment. I know that I've spoken to people who have been at corporate. They are a corporate and they don't want to be there anymore. They really want to go out on their own. But it's difficult because you have to have money to live off of. And if you don't, your life is going to be really challenging. And if it's just you, that's one thing. But if you're caring for a significant other, a family, then they're going to be very concerned and have a lot of fear and upsetment. So I've always really admired people who are go-getters, and sometimes people have 2 and 3 jobs. I know there's times in my life when I've had 3 jobs. You do what you have to do. And at the same time, you have to have a why. Your why has to be strong enough that you can go back to it over and over again and say, okay, I'll keep going. One more shift, one more project, one more weekend, instead of, I can't wait to get out of here, because that starts to penetrate and permeate through everything that you're doing, and people sense it. And then in the organization, it comes to people's attention. It's like, we don't want this person here anymore because they've already decided they've left. I think in anything, in a community, in a team, when someone doesn't want to be there for any number of reasons, you can tell. And then that person is like a poison in the organization, because they're just walking around. Either they are professing negativity, looking to bring other people to where they are, or they're not saying anything, but their lack of commitment, lack of follow through is showing up. They're my thoughts.
Well, it's interesting with the lack of commitment and the follow through. They actually did some research where they noticed that when people are negative and actually putting the thing down is better than when they have apathy. Because with apathy, you don't know whether they're good or bad, and they don't say anything about it either. It's just this void. And I don't know about you, Dr. Jacalyn, but most people I know do not function well in voids.
No, it's a big black hole.
Exactly.
It's sort of to what you're saying. My interpretation is, you don't know what the person's thinking, but they definitely are not contributing. Like, if you think of the bell-shaped curve and you've got the 80% and the 10 and the 10, the 10% at the one end are barely functioning. They're like zombies coming into work. They've already checked out. They're just getting the paycheck. And then that top 10%, they're the top performers that they don't need any carrots dangling. They're going to show up and do what it is they do. But if you can get that 80% to move, hopefully towards the A performers, then that really says a lot. And so that also comes into tapping into what it is that drives a person. And so when you look at who you're hiring, how will they fit into the culture that has been created? Or maybe the culture is stale and it needs a little kick in the butt and you need some new energy coming in. But Mariska, have you ever been at a networking function or maybe even a family gathering, and there's a certain energy in the air, and then someone comes into the room and it's like, wow, everything just changed. You can just feel the negativity or the positivity, maybe taking it to a new level.
It reminds me, well, when you said family function and this question around the energy changing in it, it made me think of my dad's side of the family. So when we think of family, and you have exposure to both sides of your family, so some to your mother's side of it and some to your father's side of it, you might notice how they are different. They have different things that they talk about and different ways that they're interacting. And when I think about my dad's side of the family, there is definitely this element where some of the family members can enter into a room and it changes it for a positive. They are very, not necessarily always lighthearted, but they are quick to laugh. They have a tendency to make jokes about things. Yes, they can be serious when serious things are needed or required, but when the tension needs to be lifted, or there's something that gets a little bit, we are taking ourselves a little bit too seriously, then they might crack a joke or say something that you sort of go, okay, yeah, that's a truth, but they say it in a way where it's easy to accept it and we don't feel aggrieved about it. So that definitely, people do have those energetic elements in them. And I know for some people, they try very hard to do it. And for some, it's a lot easier. It's a little bit like telling jokes. Some people can tell jokes, not a problem whatsoever, and it actually lands. And for some, like me, I do not do jokes. I'm sorry. They always fail horribly.
So we're not going to see you at any stand-up comedy location, any club anytime soon.
I might do improv, but I'm not so sure about stand-up comedy.
I think that would be fun. If we lived in the same country, I'd love to do that. It would be fun to do improv. We used to have a TV show host who he has a school of improv, and he's done Curb Your Enthusiasm and a number of other things, writing for them. And I really enjoyed following him and watching his shows because they were all improv based. But if you think about it, if we all had some kind of improv training, it reminds me of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which, do you have that there in Australia?
Yes, I think that's on one of the many channels.
Well, if you think about having a TV show without a script, like we don't have a script here, but we're not doing situations and there are people walking in and, you know, we're not going into a restaurant, and it's a different kind of TV show. But there's something really special about not having everything structured and planned out. And I think if we were able to have improv training in our life, that it would really help all of us not take things so seriously and maybe look at things from a different aspect. I think it's really important to laugh. I do know people who will purposefully insert jokes where they're not needed and no one really appreciates it. What I came to learn was that they were really nervous and uncomfortable, so they would just start making jokes in the middle of a business conversation or something really serious personally. And so at some point, you know, the big gong comes out in the hook and we're taking off the stage. That's the end. But it is fun to laugh. It is fun not to take things so seriously. So when we think about summing up our topic about would you hire yourself, if you had somebody who was just telling one-liners one after another in the interview, is that somebody that you think you would hire?
Well, if it was for a comedy show, maybe. But if it is for a work-related thing, most probably not. It's good to have a good sense of humor, and it's good to be able to laugh at ourselves. I think what I would find good is not necessarily the one-liners, but more if something happens, if something goes wrong, what's your first go-to, right? Do you get upset? Do you run around like a headless chicken? Do you go and hide? What is it that happens for you internally? Now, I know that there's a lot of this that we are still all working on. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm working on it myself too. And understanding what it is that when the pressure is high, but not that high. So I'm not talking about the building burning down, not that sort of pressure. But it's high enough that you might be uncomfortable. And of course, we all have different comfort levels. What is it that happens for you in that situation? And when we made a mistake, so whatever I did, I messed up, right? How do I handle that? Not only the admitting that I messed up, because that's a good quality to have, but can I actually laugh at myself? Am I able to go, yeah, okay, that was a bit dumb, and see where I made the mistakes? I'm also not saying be deprecating to yourself. It's more of a admitting to what it is that's happening in our environment and being okay with that, being gracious with that. And it might look different for different people. But I do definitely appreciate a sense of humor and being able to not take life so seriously. I mean, stuff happens. Today, stuff happened. Apparently, Mercury is in retrograde and my technology does not want to work properly. As you can see, I am going into the background again.
I didn't know it was Mercury retrograde again. Well, that's good to know. No signing contracts and technology changes. So on a serious note, it's time to say adios, au revoir, hasta la vega. To our friends at E360, thank you so much for watching as well. Mariska, before we get to where people can reach you, if you are watching on YouTube right now, we have 2 YouTube channels. Here they are. USA Global TV and Radio, and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Please do subscribe and ring that bell so you can be alerted to all of our new episodes. We have over 60 different shows. Some are live, some are in the archives. We're in 3 languages and in over 60 countries. So take that and enjoy. Mariska, what's the best way for people to reach out to you, and who should contact you?
Well, let's start with the who should contact me first. So if you are within a leadership space and you are either moving into leadership or along your leadership journey, so up in leadership, that is people that can contact me, especially when you are going through some form of transition. So either you've moved organizations, or you're busy with a change project potentially, or as we mentioned today, you want to be able to hire yourself next year. That's a transition too. So in any of those cases, you are more than welcome to contact me, and you can do that via my website, which you can see there on the screen if you are watching in any of the visual platforms. My website is Journey, Journey, to discover, discover.com. Or alternatively, you can also get me on my email, which is Mariska, Mariska, @journey2discover.com. Or you can also find me on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, if you are watching live or on a visual platform, you will see that's my profile, nice and easy, Mariska du Preez, and you can DM me, connect, and we can start our conversation from there, nice and easy. So that's how to contact me, and the who you already know. And that's it for me. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you, Mariska. I really enjoyed this episode. 5 years, we're going strong here, and I'm looking forward to next week. I think you're doing Talking Heads, yes?
I think I might be. Yes.
Yeah,
it's the second
week of the month.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we will look forward to that. So thank you for being here, Mariska, and enjoy your winter day in Australia.
All the best with the heat.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Thank you to each and every one of you who continue to support us. Maybe you're new to our network. We provide world-class education, inspiration, and hope. And if you would like to get involved, if you think you have what it takes to join our team as a TV show host, take a look at this, and the information on how to contact us is included right here. People are searching for experts every day. Are they finding you? Or are they finding someone else? Every day, professionals are building authority through media. We've already built the platform. USA Global TV and Radio. Over 14,000 shows streamed to over 60 countries. This isn't about becoming famous. It's about leverage, visibility, credibility, opportunity. One interview, one conversation, one show, repurposed into content, connection, and business growth. Most people assume hosting a TV show requires a studio, a production team, and a massive budget. Our television packages begin at $1,500 US per month. Professional production, global distribution, replay visibility, built for voices with something to say. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and if this resonates with you, we should talk. USA Global TV and Radio, all rights reserved. Contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.